Okay everybody, I hope you're ready for non-stop action, because the entire Green Lantern Corps is about to fight the Black Lanterns with everything they've got and then some. This time around we're taking a look at Green Lantern Corps numbers 39 through 45, written by Peter J. Tomasi with pencils by Patrick Gleason, inks by Rebecca Buckman, Tom Wynn, Prentice Rollins, and Keith Champagne, colors by Randy Mayer, Gabe El-Taib, and letters by Steve Wands. This is part 5 in a 7-part video series talking about the DC Comics event Blackest Night, and we are getting very close to the conclusion of the story, and the fate of the Earth may depend on what's about to happen on the planet Oa. Let's get into it. Green Lantern's Guy Gardner, Kyle Rayner, Saranac Natu, and Princess Iolande are on their way to the Green Lantern Corps base of operations on the planet Oa. Kyle and Guy just came from Earth, where they honored the dead and touched base with loved ones on the annual Day of Remembrance. They left Earth and headed to Oa before the Black Rings showed up, so they have no idea what's been happening. All the two of them can think about is how much they miss being back home, with their family and friends. Guy misses Tora, the love of his life, and would give anything to be with her in that moment. But Kyle's heart is divided. The Day of Remembrance made him realize that he still hasn't moved on from Jade, who died during Infinite Crisis, and can't reconcile those feelings with the love he feels for Saranac Natu. Suddenly, the group is bombarded by a tidal wave of black rings headed straight for the planet Oa. They pool their willpower and put up a shield to stop the rings in their tracks, but the black rings shred it like paper and continue on to their target. Kyle and Guy make their way to the central battery and rally the Corps to repel the oncoming threat, but it's too late. The swarm of black rings heads straight for the crypt, where Green Lanterns who die in the line of duty are laid to rest. Despite the best efforts of Morrow, the Crypt Keeper, who fought like hell to protect these fallen heroes, every dead Green Lantern in Oa's crypt rises as a Black Lantern, and the situation quickly becomes nightmarish. Kilowog, the Lantern in charge of training new recruits, is confronted by every rookie who's ever died in the line of duty, while even more rookies are cut down by the Black Lantern version of Ermi, the Lantern who trained Kilowog back when he was a rookie. Ermi tells Kilowog what a failure he is for allowing all of this to happen, that none of these rookies would have died if Kilowog had done a better job of training them. And as much as Kilowog protests, Ermi's words really do get to him. This is something that's been festering in the back of his mind for a long time now. All the good people who had nothing to rely on but the training he gave them. Would they have lived if he did a better job? Kilowog is getting angrier and angrier, but no matter how much he smashes Ermi's body, it doesn't change anything. And the bodies of fallen rookies littering the ground may in fact be Kilowog's legacy. Speaking of legacies, Aricia comes from a long line of Green Lanterns, and is now confronted by her parents and her grandfather, who pull her heart in two directions at once by simultaneously celebrating their reunion while also scolding Aricia for dragging their family name through the mud. Their struggle moves into a ceremonial hall that celebrates fallen lanterns, and these twisted perversions of Aricia's family attack her amid images of her actual parents. And maybe it's because of the location, but Aricia is able to steel herself against their words and reject their attempts at manipulation, choosing to fight back with her own set of fake family members, constructs that represent the people they actually were. It ends with an explosion, as most family reunions do, and Aricia flies back out into the night, because things are going to get much worse before they get better. To Kyle's horror, Jade is among the Black Lanterns. She immediately starts trying to fan the flames of love in his heart, reassuring him that this is real, and his unwavering love is what allowed her to come back. And in a moment that's as sad as it is triumphant, Kyle tells her that his heart wants her words to be true, but his head knows she's lying. Kyle rejects her and attacks with full force. Since love didn't work, Black Lantern Jade decides instead to remind Kyle of all the innocent people who died because of him. His own loved ones who suffered and lost everything because he wears that ring. While that's happening, Saranac and Iolande head for the infirmary to defend all of the Lanterns who are too injured to fight back. They're vastly outnumbered, fighting in a confined space, and the Black Lanterns regenerate faster than they can be blown apart. All it takes is for Saranac to become overwhelmed for a moment, and the entire floor of injured Green Lanterns get harvested, before rising as new Black Lanterns. In a final, desperate move, Saranac and Iolande vaporize everything on that floor, and then fly full speed throughout the rest of the infirmary, grabbing every patient who's still alive, and begin ferrying them off-world to Mogo, where Saranac knows they'll be safe. But on the way, they see Kyle succumbing to Jade's attack, so Saranac leaves Iolande to finish rescuing the wounded while she goes to help Kyle. Normally, this would actually make things even easier for Black Lantern Jade, since she can just manipulate the love that Kyle and Saranac clearly have for each other, especially since Saranac didn't know about Kyle's conflicted feelings. But at this point, the two of them aren't willing to stand there and listen to another word Jade says, and immediately start fighting back as fiercely as they can. Amidst all this chaos, everyone is wondering the same thing. Why are communications down, and why aren't the Guardians doing anything about this situation? Salak decides to find out, so he goes to the Guardians' Citadel only to find it empty. He's then confronted by the Alpha Lanterns, who attempt to stage a coup and take control of Oa in the Guardians' absence. The Alpha Lanterns are Green Lanterns who the Guardians turned into cyborgs, going as far to implant power batteries in their chests. As a result, they act more like manhunters than the people they used to be. The Alpha Lanterns were created during a period where the Guardians believed that emotion was a poison that breeds only chaos, and they wanted to experiment with a version of the Green Lantern Corps that was more robotic, and gave the Alpha Lanterns limited authority over the Corps, to ensure that the Guardians' laws are enforced. Now, with the Guardians missing, the Alpha Lanterns are asserting their power and taking control of everything. But Salak won't allow it. In a scene that somehow makes protocol and legal precedent seem as exciting as the zombie war happening right outside, Salak provides receipts that prove he is the rightful leader of Oa in the Guardians' absence. The Alpha Lanterns are defined by their dedication to the system and the laws that exist to prop it up, and Salak was able to use that to stop them from abusing their authority so that they might become useful in the fight against the Black Lanterns. Once the chain of command has been settled, Salak makes a very important decision that, while logical, actually manages to make the situation feel even more dire. Salak puts a stop to all ring production and recruitment, ordering that any ring without a bearer go to Mogo for safekeeping until this crisis is over. He did this to make sure that new recruits wouldn't be sent to the slaughter, but that also means that there is now a set number of Green Lanterns in the Corps, and that number is going to keep falling very quickly as more and more of them die at the hands of Black Lanterns. And at the same time, the Black Lantern Corps continues to increase in number, due in large part to the fact that they're wiping out the Green Lantern Corps and raising their dead with black rings. And since green light alone can't do any permanent damage to Black Lanterns, the Green Lantern Corps won't be able to keep fighting for much longer. We check in with Izamak Kol and Vath Sarn, the Green Lanterns of Thanagar and Ran, and we see a scene that's echoed all across Oa, lanterns shining as brightly as they can, unable to chase away the dark. They're fighting their hardest, but it will all be for nothing, as the legion of Black Lanterns surrounding them draw closer, ready to harvest their hearts. Just then, Izamat and Vath are saved by the sudden arrival of the Indigo Lantern named Monk, who you'll remember from the last video when he parted ways with Indigo 1 and Hal Jordan so he could start rallying the Corps to join the fight. Monk immediately starts mixing his indigo light with the green light of will and permanently destroys a dozen or so Black Lanterns. Vath then asks a very sensible question about why Monk doesn't just bathe the entire planet in his light so that all the Green Lanterns fighting across Oa can start making actual progress. But as Monk explains it, the more you spread out the light, the more you dilute its effects, which honestly sounds a little too convenient of a way to keep the danger levels high, although I guess it does make sense that powers based on emotion would be more effective in a one-on-one situation. Suddenly, every Black Lantern stops moving. We've caught up to the point in the story where the Black Rings have collected 100% of the power they need to summon Necron on Earth, and now a new set of orders go out to every Black Lantern on Oa. 100% power level exceeded. Devour will. All at once, the Black Lanterns drop what they're doing and fly away, totally ignoring the Green Lantern Corps. The only reason the Black Lanterns cared about harvesting hearts was to collect enough emotional energy to summon Necron. Now that their goal has been reached, emotions have no more value to them and must be eliminated. So they immediately target the largest source of emotional energy on the planet. Every Black Lantern on Oa gathers around the central battery. They all raise their rings towards the sky, and a massive, demonic black construct grabs hold of the central battery and begins ripping it right out of the ground. Even with Monk's help, the Green Lanterns are outnumbered and overwhelmed. That's when Kyle remembers that the Corps actually has a Red Lantern in custody, so he and Guy let the Red Lantern named Vice out of his cell, and then literally throw him at the mob of Black Lanterns. Vice starts tearing his way through Black Lanterns at such a fast pace that it begins to disrupt their massive construct, buying the Green Lanterns a little more time, until one of the Alpha Lanterns kills the Red Lantern for the crime of escaping from his cell. He immediately pays for this stupid mistake when a horde of Black Lanterns rip the battery right out of his body. But doing that damaged the Alpha Lantern's battery, and now it's going to explode. Kyle rushes in, grabs the battery, and then flies right into the middle of the Black Lantern crowd. He tells Saranic he loves her, tells Guy he's been like a brother to him, and then the Alpha Lantern battery explodes. The area around the central battery is wiped clean. The Black Lanterns are obliterated, the Green Lanterns are thrown back like ragdolls, and Kyle Rayner lays on the ground as his ring flies away, confirming his death. Guy and Saranic race to Kyle's side. Guy refuses to let Kyle's ring leave, since that would be admitting that Kyle is actually gone, but he can only hold it back for so long before it finally breaks free. Saranic is trying to revive Kyle, but it's not working, and all around them, the Black Lanterns are starting to regenerate. Guy's anger has reached a breaking point. There is no limit to the amount of rage he feels for the Black Lanterns now that they took Kyle's life. And thanks to the Alpha Lanterns, the ring of a dead Red Lantern just happens to be on Oa looking for a new host. The ring chooses Guy, and now armed with both a green ring and a red one, he begins tearing apart the Black Lanterns like a wild animal. Saranic won't give up on Kyle, despite all signs showing that he's already gone. If it wasn't already clear from the fact that his green ring left him, the point is definitively made when a black ring tries to land on Kyle's finger. She forces it away from him, but it keeps trying until Monk arrives and destroys the black ring. But the Black Lanterns are rising again, and dozens of black rings are now flying through the air to try and claim Kyle, while Saranic desperately tries to revive him. Kilowog, Aricia, Isamat, and Vath all help Monk defend Saranic and Kyle, and together they manage to permanently destroy a lot of black rings, but it doesn't matter. She can't bring Kyle back. That's when a Star Sapphire named Miri arrives. Star Sapphires are powered by love. They can see the love that connects people together and follow it like a map across the stars. And the heartache felt by Saranic in this moment led Miri here. For Miri, the love between two people is something tangible that she can reach out and touch. And that's exactly what she does. They say that your heart belongs to the person you love, and Miri literalizes that idea. She grabs hold of the love that they share and uses it to connect their hearts to the point that Saranic's heart beats for both of them, which is enough to shock Kyle's body back to life. Everyone is very happy, and Kyle's ring was nice enough to come back to him, but not much has actually changed for the better. They still have a ton of Black Lanterns to deal with, and now Guy is a rampaging Red Lantern tearing apart anyone and anything in sight. On the bright side, he's mostly targeting Black Lanterns, and they're going down permanently since he's wearing both color rings. But he's totally blinded by rage and will become just as big a threat to the Green Lanterns before too long. Kyle wants to get the red ring off of Guy's finger as soon as possible, despite Vath very accurately pointing out that Guy is doing a better job of stopping the Black Lanterns by himself right now than the entire rest of the Green Lantern Corps has been able to do, even with Monk's help. and maybe they should just let Guy do his thing for a while. It's not like they have a way to take the red ring off Guy's finger without killing him, since a Red Lantern ring essentially becomes an artificial heart after shutting your real heart down. Maybe Miri can try doing the same thing that resurrected Kyle, but I don't know if the power of friendship will be lovey enough for that to work. Either way, confronting Guy right now seems like a very bad idea. But Kyle does it anyway, and all it accomplishes is to make Guy start fighting his friends. Meanwhile, the battle to defend the central battery is going very poorly, and the Black Lanterns actually knock it over on its side, creating an impact that kicks up a debris field moving hundreds of miles per hour. Things keep getting worse, and soon there won't be much of Oa or the central battery left to save. But then a miracle happens. Mogo arrives. Being a sentient planet, Mogo is both the largest and arguably most powerful Green Lantern in the Corps. Salak asks Mogo what it plans to do. Mogo simply says, "Purge." All of a sudden, Mogo's gravity increases exponentially, and pulls every single being, living or dead, off of Oa's surface. Every lantern, be they green, black, indigo, or sapphire, are pulled helplessly through the vacuum of space, yanked off of one world and thrown onto another. When they arrive, the Black Lanterns are pulled down into Mogo's superheated core, an environment so harsh that the Black Lanterns will never be able to regenerate. In Mogo's own words, they will burn for all eternity. Thanks to Mogo, every Black Lantern on Oa has been neutralized, and we even get confirmation that Ayalande and the patients from the infirmary made it to Mogo safely, and everyone is in the process of recovering. Oa is a wreck, the central battery is down but still functional, and what remains of the Green Lantern Corps are still standing and able to fight. Which is good, because they still have one angry Guy to deal with. Now it's everybody versus Guy Gardner. Kyle can't get through to him, so Miri tries using her ring to connect with his heart, but Guy's rage is so overpowering that nothing works. That's when Mogo steps in, hitting Guy with a massive shot of willpower to throw him off balance, before confronting Guy with constructs that embody all of the best and worst moments of his life, in hopes that Guy will be able to work through his personal demons and snap out of this rage on his own. But that's not really working, and the other Lanterns refuse to let Guy face this alone, so they hit Guy with a gigantic hammer and then restrain him. There doesn't seem to be a good answer for what to do next. Removing the red ring will kill Guy. Only a blue lantern can cure you of being a red lantern, but Monk doesn't have enough power left to teleport anyone to the blue lanterns, and Guy's restraints will never hold long enough to fly there. Saranic does a medical scan and finds that every last drop of blood in Guy's body has been compromised by the red ring. If a medical solution exists, they don't have the means to do it. That's when Mogo steps in again, submerging Guy in a special nutrient pool designed to keep him alive while Mogo filters and replaces all of Guy's blood, refreshing any corrupted vital organs and cells along the way. When Guy emerges from the pool, he's himself again, and the red ring flies away. Now everyone finally has a few precious minutes of downtime. Kyle and Guy are each overjoyed that the other is okay, and Guy promises Miri free food and drinks for life at his bar. But the time to rest is over as quickly as it began, because more Indigo Lanterns suddenly teleport in. They catch everyone up on what's been happening on Earth, and tell them to prepare for the fight of their lives. The Green Lanterns recharge at the central battery, which is still lying on its side, before the Indigos teleport the Green Lantern Corps and Miri to Earth for the final battle. What a wild set of issues. If you somehow thought that Blackest Night didn't have enough action or characters, then Green Lantern Corps is the book for you. This entire run of Green Lantern Corps juggles so many characters and storylines that have all been building to this moment, where everyone gets pushed to their breaking points and emerges with a new perspective on themselves and their place in the universe. The most extreme example is Guy, who got his first taste of Red Lantern power, which builds off his troubled past in a way that's going to be vital in shaping the rest of his life going forward. I really love how they foreshadow Guy's turn at the very beginning, when he's the only lantern on Oa that the Black Lanterns read as having a different primary emotion. Unlike Kilowog or Kyle, who exude willpower, Guy is bursting with a fiery rage. One major complaint I have about this group of issues is the death and return of Kyle Rayner. As far as death scenes go, it was well done on a technical level, and it does serve its purpose in the overall plot, but there are too many things about this whole sequence of events that doesn't make sense to me. Why would Kyle physically carry the bomb to its destination himself? He could have easily sent it there in a construct, or launched it through the air from a safe distance. Why would Monk care about saving Kyle's life when hundreds of Green Lanterns already died in the fight? Why would so many of the Corps' heavy hitters choose to stop defending the battery so they could buy Saranic time to try and save Kyle? I know the answer is because he's a main character and they love him, but it's like everyone just forgot how bad things are and decided to focus entirely on Kyle instead of the mountain of zombies trying to eat the central battery. Also, even though it was clearly always the plan to revive Kyle one issue later, this stunt didn't feel great, considering how chronically overused Death and Rebirth are in superhero comics. Again, in hindsight, this was clearly never supposed to be an actual death for the character, but the story treats it like it is, and undoing it so quickly feels cheap and manipulative. I should also say that it does feel kinda lazy that Mogo just shows up and solves literally all the problems, but I can't be too mad about it because the tactics Mogo used were truly unique, creative, and unlike anything we've seen in Blackest Night. And that brings us to the end of part 5 of 7. We are racing towards the conclusion of this event, and it's finally time for all the players to converge on Coast City and take the fight to Necron himself. Next time we'll be talking about Blackest Night number 5, Blackest Night Wonder Woman number 2, Green Lantern number 49, Blackest Night number 6, Blackest Night Wonder Woman number 3, Green Lantern number 50, and Green Lantern number 51. The heroes think they're prepared, but they've never experienced the likes of what's about to happen. If you haven't subscribed already, now's a good time, so you'll be sure to see the conclusion of this massive DC Universe event. And in the meantime, tell me in the comments what you thought about these issues of Green Lantern Corps. How did you feel about Kyle's death? Would Kilowog really be manipulated that easily? Was Red Lantern Guy Gardner more dangerous than the Black Lanterns? Tell me all about it, and I'll see you back here very soon for the next part in this series. Thank you all for taking the time to watch. My name is Dan. We'll talk again soon.